Remember when grocery stores sold foods that were everywhere? Until one day they were just gone? These tasty favorites filled our kitchens and our bellies, and now all we have are memories and maybe a little disappointment. Let's take a trip back in time and look at 15 grocery products that disappeared from the shelves. First up, Swanson TV dinners. The 1950s brought us rock and roll, suburban sprawl, and the revolutionary TV dinner. Swanson's frozen meals in compartmentalized aluminum trays changed how Americans approached convenience food. These iconic silver platters arrived when television ownership was booming and traditional family dinners were evolving. The original Swanson TV dinners featured classic comfort foods: turkey with stuffing, fried chicken, meatloaf with potatoes, all neatly divided into sections like a cafeteria tray for your lap. The meals sold for 98 cents initially, about $10 in today's money. What made these meals unique was their indestructible aluminum packaging. These trays were built like miniature tanks with walls thick enough to survive a nuclear blast. The instructions claimed a 25-minute cooking time, but anyone who used these products knows that was optimistic. The real process involved checking every 5 minutes, burning your fingers, and ultimately serving a meal where the turkey was scorching while the peas remained frozen. By 1960, Swanson was selling over 13 million TV dinners annually. The aluminum trays disappeared when microwave ovens became household staples in the 1980s. Today's frozen dinners might taste better, but they lack the charm of those original silver trays that promised a complete meal even if they rarely delivered. Whip and chill. Long before Instagram-worthy desserts, there was whip and chill, the 1960s answer to fancy dessert without cooking skills. This powdered mix transformed into a light, airy, mousse-like creation that wasn't quite pudding and wasn't quite whipped cream. Whip and chill appeared during America's love affair with convenience foods, positioned as an elegant treat housewives could prepare in minutes. The box promised the new dessert sensation and delivered a unique texture, fluffy and creamy, but substantial enough to hold shape in fancy glassware. It came in 3 flavors: chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, with chocolate reportedly selling twice as many boxes as the others. The preparation was theatrical. You'd pour cold milk into a bowl, add the powder, and beat it with an electric mixer for 5 minutes. During this time, the mixture would undergo a transformation, tripling in volume. For many children, watching mom make whip and chill was like witnessing a science experiment, the liquid gradually becoming something cloud-like. Despite its popularity throughout the 1960s and early 1970s, whip and chill disappeared from grocery shelves. General Foods discontinued it in the late 1970s, leaving disappointed fans who still search for a comparable substitute 50 years later. Jello 1, 2, 3. If regular Jello was the dependable sedan of desserts, then Jello 1, 2, 3 was the convertible sports car, flashier, more complex, and guaranteed to impress. Introduced in 1969, this product promised 3 distinct layers in a single dessert: clear jelly on the bottom, creamy mousse in the middle, and light foam on top. Making Jello 1, 2, 3 required emptying the packet into boiling water, stirring vigorously for exactly 2 minutes, then pouring the mixture into dessert glasses. The magic happened during refrigeration, when the mixture separated into distinct layers based on density. The heavier particles sank to form jelly, medium particles created mousse, and the lightest components floated to create foam. When successful, Jello 1, 2, 3 was impressive. Serving these layered desserts at dinner parties became a subtle form of domestic bragging. The strawberry flavor was most popular, creating a pink-hued dessert resembling a sunset in glass. The product enjoyed tremendous success throughout the 1970s and early 1980s. At its peak, Americans bought over 4 million boxes monthly. Unfortunately, General Foods discontinued Jello 1, 2, 3 in 1996 after nearly 3 decades. The official reason was declining sales, though rumors suggest the formula became too expensive to produce. Fans have attempted recreation using combinations of regular Jello and Cool Whip, but these versions never achieved the perfect separation of the original. The chemistry that made those perfect layers possible remains a lost food science secret. Chun King canned Chinese food. Before takeout apps and strip mall Chinese restaurants dominated American dining habits, there was Chun King, the canned Chinese food that introduced many Americans to what they thought was authentic Eastern cuisine. Launched in the 1940s, Chun King brought chow mein and chop suey to dinner tables across the country, all from the convenience of a can. The typical Chun King dinner came in a unique divided can with crispy noodles on top and the saucy vegetable mixture on the bottom. Opening one was a minor event. The metal divider between sections had to be removed carefully before heating, creating a sense of ceremony that made dinner feel special. What made Chun King revolutionary wasn't just its convenience, but its accessibility. In the 1950s, when the brand reached peak popularity, finding authentic Chinese restaurants outside major cities was nearly impossible. At its height, Chun King controlled about 70% of the canned Chinese food market, selling over 30 million cans annually. The food itself bore little resemblance to actual Chinese cuisine. The vegetables were soft, the sauce was thick and sweet, and the flavor profile was carefully engineered to appeal to middle American taste buds that had never encountered genuine soy sauce or ginger. By the 1980s, as Americans gained access to more authentic Chinese food and developed more sophisticated palates, Chun King's appeal faded. The brand changed hands several times before disappearing. A few months ago, I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancée got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear. This one is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. Pizza spins. Before Doritos began releasing new flavors every month, there were pizza spins, the snack food that dared to capture the essence of an entire meal in a crunchy bite. Created by General Mills in the 1960s, these wheel-shaped corn snacks contain the holy trinity of pizza flavors: tomato, cheese, and herbs. The genius of pizza spins lay in their design. Unlike flat chips, their circular pinwheel shape created pockets that trapped the seasoning powder, ensuring maximum flavor in every bite. The texture was extraordinarily crunchy, almost shatteringly so, providing a satisfying experience that modern snacks struggle to replicate. They weren't just pizza-flavored, they were engineered to deliver an experience that made your taste buds believe they were getting the real thing, minus the delivery fee and awkward small talk with the pizza guy. Pizza spins arrived at the perfect moment in American snack history. The 1968 launch coincided with the rising popularity of casual entertaining and the emerging concept of fun foods. Television advertising for pizza spins promised real pizza taste and suggested serving them at parties as a sophisticated alternative to plain chips. Though exact sales figures remain a mystery, their popularity can be measured by the passionate online communities still dedicated to bringing them back. One petition gathered over 12,000 signatures from fans begging General Mills to revive the product. Dinty Moore canned boiled dinner. Has anyone ever looked at a traditional New England boiled dinner, that hearty mix of corned beef, cabbage, potatoes, and carrots, and thought, this needs to be stuffed into a can? Apparently, someone at Hormel Foods did exactly that in the 1950s when they created the Dinty Moore canned boiled dinner. Named after a character from a popular comic strip, Dinty Moore products appeared during the Great Depression as affordable, shelf-stable meals for families struggling to put food on the table. While the stew variety still exists today, the boiled dinner variant has vanished into the mists of food history. The canned version attempted to recreate the experience of a slow-cooked, home-style meal with all the convenience of something that could survive a nuclear apocalypse. The canned boiled dinner contained chunks of beef, potatoes, cabbage, and carrots swimming in a thin broth. The vegetables were soft enough to eat without teeth, which might explain its popularity among certain demographics. The entire meal came in a distinctive blue can with a red label. Nutritionally speaking, the product wasn't terrible by mid-century standards. Each can contains about 400 calories and 25 grams of protein. However, it also delivered nearly 2,000 milligrams of sodium, roughly 80% of the daily recommended intake. By the 1980s, as microwave technology advanced and frozen meals improved in quality, the appeal of canned complete dinners diminished. Hormel discontinued the boiled dinner variety while maintaining the more popular stew product, Carnation breakfast bars. Ask anyone who grew up in the 1970s about Carnation breakfast bars, and you'll likely see their eyes light up with nostalgia. These revolutionary meal replacement bars appeared on supermarket shelves in 1975 and quickly developed a cult following that persists decades after their disappearance. Marketed as a complete breakfast in portable form, they offered busy Americans a way to eat their morning meal on the go. Unlike today's protein bars that taste like sweetened cardboard, Carnation breakfast bars straddled the line between health food and treat. They came in several flavors, including chocolate chip, peanut butter, caramel, and chocolate crunch. Each bar contained 7 essential vitamins and minerals while delivering about 200 calories and 8 grams of protein. What made these bars truly special was their ability to convince consumers they were making a healthy choice while delivering something that tasted remarkably like a candy bar. It was the nutritional equivalent of getting away with dessert for breakfast without your mother noticing. Despite their popularity, Carnation breakfast bars vanished from stores in the early 1990s after Nestlé acquired the brand. The exact reason for their discontinuation remains unclear, though speculation ranges from rising production costs to changing consumer preferences. Bordon's ice milk. The year is 1963. Diet culture is beginning to influence American food choices, but the frozen dessert aisle offers few options for the calorie-conscious consumer. Enter Bordon's ice milk, the compromised dessert that promised the satisfaction of ice cream with fewer calories and less fat. Neither fully ice cream nor frozen yogurt, ice milk occupied its own distinct category in the frozen dessert hierarchy. Ice milk's creation was largely driven by dairy regulations. To be legally classified as ice cream, a product needed to contain at least 10% milk fat. Ice milk contained between 2 and 7%, making it significantly lighter while maintaining a creamy texture. Bordon's version became the category leader, offering vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and occasionally more adventurous flavors. The taste and texture of ice milk created a unique eating experience. It melted faster than ice cream, sometimes transforming into a puddle before you'd finished enjoying the first few spoonfuls. This rapid meltdown became a recognizable part of the ice milk experience, a race against time that added an element of urgency to dessert. Ice milk remained popular throughout the 1970s, but its market presence gradually diminished as frozen yogurt gained popularity in the 1980s. The final blow came in 1994 when the FDA changed frozen dessert standards, eliminating the separate ice milk category entirely. Morton honey buns. Long before Cinnabon conquered shopping malls with their gooey, aromatic rolls, Morton honey buns reigned supreme in the world of mass-produced breakfast pastries. Introduced in the 1950s by the Morton Frozen Foods Company, these sweet, spiral-shaped buns offered Americans the indulgence of homemade pastries with none of the work. The concept was revolutionary for its time, fully prepared sweet buns that only required heating. Each package contained 6 generously sized rolls swirled with cinnamon and drenched in a honey-flavored glaze that would become crackling and slightly crystallized when baked. Morton honey buns achieved their peak popularity in the early 1960s when they were appearing in about 20% of American freezers, according to consumer surveys from that era. They became a weekend breakfast tradition for many families, offering a special treat that elevated Saturday mornings without requiring baking skills. The most distinctive feature was their sticky glaze, which seemed specifically designed to find its way onto fingers, faces, and eventually furniture. The company likely made a fortune selling a product that was 90% sugar and 10% vehicle for transferring that sugar to every surface in your home. The last Morton honey buns disappeared from freezer cases around 1977, leaving behind legions of fans who still remember that distinctive sweetness and perfect spiral shape. PDQ chocolate drink mix. The battle for chocolate milk supremacy in the 1960s and 1970s was fierce, but PDQ had a secret weapon that set it apart from powdery competitors like Nesquik and Ovaltine. Instead of a fine powder that clumped and required vigorous stirring, PDQ came as tiny beads or pellets that dissolved almost instantly in milk. The name itself, PDQ, standing for Pretty Darn Quick, highlighted this key advantage. Introduced by Ovaltine Foods in 1961, PDQ's innovative format changed how Americans prepared chocolate milk. The small pellets were essentially dried chocolate with a special coating that allowed them to dissolve rapidly. Just a few shakes of the glass, and you had perfectly mixed chocolate milk without the dreaded powder clumps at the bottom that plagued other mixes. PDQ came in several flavors beyond the classic chocolate. Strawberry PDQ had a loyal following, while the eggnog flavor made seasonal appearances during the holidays. According to market research from 1968, PDQ had captured nearly 30% of the chocolate milk mix market within just 7 years of its introduction. The most remarkable thing about PDQ wasn't just how quickly it dissolved, but how it managed to turn ordinary milk into something that tasted like it came from a magical cow that produced chocolate naturally. The beads seemed to disappear before your eyes, as if performing a dairy-based magic trick. Despite its popularity and innovative format, PDQ disappeared from store shelves in the mid-1990s. The brand changed hands several times before production ceased entirely, leaving chocolate milk lovers with only powder-based alternatives that never quite matched PDQ's dissolving prowess. Tuna Twist. The 1970s were a time of bold culinary experimentation when convenience often trumped tradition and Americans willingly sampled unusual food combinations. Few products embodied this adventurous spirit more completely than Tuna Twist, a seasoning mix specifically designed to transform ordinary canned tuna into something allegedly more exciting. Launched by Lipton in 1971, Tuna Twist came in small packets containing dry seasonings meant to be mixed with drained tuna and mayonnaise. Available flavors included cheddar cheese, Italian herb, garden vegetable, and the particularly daring barbecue. Each packet cost about 29 cents and could season one 7-ounce can of tuna. The marketing campaign targeted busy homemakers looking for quick lunch options beyond the basic tuna sandwich. Television commercials showed impressed families enjoying tuna salad with crackers and tomatoes or stuffed into celery sticks. Sales initially boomed with over 5 million packets sold in the first year alone. The cheddar cheese variety deserves special recognition for its sheer audacity. It turned innocent tuna an alarming orange color while creating a flavor combination that raised serious questions about whether the product developers had ever actually tasted either tuna or cheese before creating it. By 1978, Tuna Twist had vanished from grocery shelves. The concept never really evolved beyond its initial gimmick, and as Americans gained access to more authentic international cuisines, flavored tuna packets lost their appeal. Kraft Pizza Kit. Weekend dinners in the 1970s often featured an exciting ritual for American families, assembling homemade pizza from the Kraft Pizza Kit. This boxed wonder contained all the basic components needed to create a pizza at home. Shelf-stable dough mix, tomato sauce, and a packet of Parmesan cheese that remained mysteriously fresh despite being stored at room temperature for months. Introduced in 1967, the Kraft Pizza Kit arrived at a perfect moment in American culinary history. Pizza was becoming mainstream beyond Italian-American communities, but frozen pizzas were still of dubious quality, and delivery options were limited in many areas. The preparation process became a family event. After mixing the dough with water, you'd spread it on a baking sheet, attempting to achieve something vaguely circular. Next came the small can of sauce, spread thinly across the surface, followed by the cheese packet. Families often added their own toppings like pepperoni, ground beef, or green peppers to customize the experience. The finished product bore the same relationship to authentic Italian pizza that a child's drawing bears to a Rembrandt, recognizable in concept but wildly different in execution. The crust emerged from the oven with a texture that food scientists might classify somewhere between yoga mat and slightly edible cardboard. The popularity of the kits declined in the 1980s as frozen pizza technology improved and delivery chains expanded nationwide. Production ceased around 1995, ending a unique chapter in American home cooking. Toastettes. The breakfast pastry wars of the 1960s and 1970s were fought with frosting, fruit filling, and marketing dollars. While Pop-Tarts ultimately claimed victory, Kellogg's once faced serious competition from Nabisco's Toastettes. The rectangular toaster pastry that many connoisseurs insist was actually superior to the more famous brand. Introduced shortly after Pop-Tarts hit the market, Toastettes offered a slightly different take on the portable breakfast concept. The most noticeable difference was the crust. Toastettes featured a distinctly crunchier exterior that maintained its texture even after toasting. This crispier shell contrasted nicely with the sweet filling inside, creating a more complex eating experience than their softer-crusted competitors. Flavor innovation became a key battleground in the toaster pastry market. Toastettes offered standards like strawberry and blueberry, but also introduced more adventurous options, including Dutch apple and Boston cream pie. Each pastry came wrapped in foil to maintain freshness, and the packaging featured bright colors designed to appeal to children and parents alike. At their peak in the mid-1970s, Toastettes captured approximately 28% of the toaster pastry market, a significant achievement considering the marketing muscle behind Pop-Tarts. What ultimately doomed Toastettes wasn't their quality, but rather their position as the number 2 brand in a market where being second best meant eventual extinction. It's like showing up to a talent show right after Elvis. You might have a great voice, but nobody's going to remember you were even there. Jello vegetable flavors. Some food ideas are so fundamentally misguided that they eventually become fascinating historical curiosities. Jello's vegetable flavors fall squarely into this category. During the 1960s, when molded salads reached the peak of their popularity, General Foods introduced savory Jello flavors designed specifically for those gelatinous creations that graced American dinner tables. The vegetable Jello lineup included such questionable offerings as celery, mixed vegetable, seasoned tomato, and Italian salad. Flavors that sound more like punishment than dessert. Unlike the sweet Jello varieties that survived, these savory versions were intended to suspend meats, vegetables, and other savory ingredients in a wobbly, translucent medium. Marketing materials suggested serving celery Jello with seafood salad, mixed vegetable Jello with ham chunks, and tomato Jello with practically anything that would hold still long enough to be encased in gelatin. A 1964 cookbook published by General Foods included 37 recipes featuring these savory flavors, including the particularly horrifying sandwich loaf, layers of bread and filling entombed in celery Jello. The most disturbing aspect of vegetable Jello wasn't just its existence, but the enthusiasm with which some home cooks embraced it. Recipe contests from that era show genuine excitement about incorporating tomato-flavored gelatin into everyday meals, raising serious questions about whether the 1960s food scene was an elaborate practical joke that went too far. Nabisco Chipsters. The snack aisle has witnessed countless products come and go, but few have maintained the cult-like devotion that still surrounds Nabisco Chipsters decades after their disappearance. These unique potato snacks, introduced in the late 1960s, defied easy categorization. Not quite chips, not quite crackers, but something deliciously in between. Chipsters were thin, airy potato crisps with a distinctive hexagonal shape. They came stacked in a can similar to Pringles, but featured a lighter, more delicate texture. The manufacturing process involved creating a slurry of dehydrated potato flakes, flour, and seasonings that was then formed into their signature shape and baked rather than fried. This resulted in a product with a satisfying crunch but less oil than traditional potato chips. The original flavor was simply salted, but later variations included barbecue and sour cream and onion. A television advertising campaign featuring the memorable slogan, "Chipsters Goes Crunch," helped establish the brand in the competitive snack market. By 1972, distribution had expanded nationwide, and Chipsters briefly outsold Fritos in several northeastern markets. The unique texture of Chipsters made them unusually addictive. Their light, airy quality created the potato chip equivalent of empty calories. You could devour an entire can while your brain was still processing the first handful. 1 minute you'd be opening a fresh container, and the next you'd be staring into an empty can, wondering if you'd been visited by a particularly hungry ghost. Despite their popularity, Chipsters disappeared from store shelves in the mid-1970s. Nabisco never officially explained the discontinuation, though rumors about production challenges and rising costs have circulated among snack food historians.